Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 114 of the longing. And I am still feeling pretty shitty. Surprisingly, though, I woke up feeling fine, and the day before that, I went to bed feeling pretty good as well. I had gotten done talking with a friend of mine, and also I was wondering maybe I should say what the specific day is every day, like so you guys have a better idea of like how long ago these were. Today's January 20th. And I'm just realizing now, in addition to that, I forgot to upload my video for today yet, so I'll have to do that as well after I get done recording here. I'm always fascinated with like how quickly my emotions change, how quickly my mental state goes from like I can't think about anything except frustration at the universe uh, for like a couple hours, and then it switches to like, oh, I'm completely beyond that, and now I'm proud to be the person I am and move forward as an. And it's like it doesn't always seem to have any rhyme or reason to it, and I don't know if I'm going the right direction. Yeah, I'm not going the right direction. The right direction was where the spider made their web. We have to go down and around to get there. Okay. Um, so it, it it almost would make me think it's like it sounds sort of like what people describe bipolar as, but then like not really. And in addition to that, it's bipolar is something where you from what I read, it's something that happens over a period of like months. Like you have like months and months of feeling one way, and then months and months of feeling the other way, and it switches back and forth. Where for me, it's like couple days of feeling shitty, and then maybe like 8 hours of feeling really good, uh, and and it usually continues like that. I forget what was down the other way, but it was probably just another dead end. Um, and so yeah, um, and it's frustrating because my mind, it feels like it's going faster than I can keep up with. It feels like the whole world is going faster than I can keep up with, and there's ideas that I've been thinking about that I wanted to talk about in the longing, but they're predicated on other ideas that I have not yet talked about. Um, so I guess I'm starting here. I've got to pick up the coal. Give me the coal. Or not. It only allows me to climb the web. The web is in the way, and its option takes higher priority, the button, than picking up the coal. Here we are. Well, let's turn the music back on because I think this is the Mushroom Cave. Uh, with as the my like one commenter pointed out, is like some of the best music in the game. Pick up the coal. Gimme, gimme, gimme. No, it does not allow me to do so. Hmm. No, I just realized I don't remember exactly how this mushroom stuff worked, so it's gonna be, I'm gonna have to go back and check. I might pause the video once I get up to the top part and re-watch my old video to see which formation is the correct formation for planting these mushrooms. I'm just listening to the music. Well, then going to find ourselves. Maybe I should go over here and get some disappointments, or no, that was a different way. That was a mining direction. And then down here is the big room, and then that way is a mine, and then up to the very top is where we can plant mushroom. I'm getting further and further away from the king. Maybe it's time to head home and read a nice book. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Oh, no, I accidentally ate it. I'm stupid. Oh well. I accidentally right-clicked. You probably wonder, how do you do that? You just do. If you've got jittery hands, that's the thing I have genetically. My dad has very shaky hands, and I've got it from him now, and it seems worse in me than it did in him at my age for him. So hopefully it doesn't get that much worse. Just the one thing is, it on some level it's good for coming up with topics to have this anxiety, but on another level then it just gets so fast that like your thoughts are going, that you can't think about anything and you can't talk. It doesn't work. I'm gonna mine here, and while I'm mining, I'm gonna figure out what the correct formation of mushrooms was. Be right back. Alright, I'm back, and it looks like, yeah, all you have to do is just put the pink one all the way to the right, right up next to the ledge, and then a green one as close as you can next to that. And that should be the way of doing it. So, perfect. Now I remember, and we're all good. But what I wanted to talk about, just, yeah, that it feels like that. Well, let's start off with, for any of you who know of hyperbole and a half, I remember a long time ago learning about that because, what's his face, the oatmeal, talked about hyperbole and a half, and, as hyperbole and a half being an inspiration for him doing his stuff. And for me, my amount of caring for either of these creators, like the oatmeal, I've stopped caring about many, many, many years ago. But hyperbole and a half, even though hyperbole and a half shares some of like the cringy, like lol, so random, early 2000s humor sort of style, it still holds up better in comparison to the oatmeal. But to be fair, I haven't given the oatmeal a chance. But they were, if you'd have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, they were these sort of internet blog things where where people, like both the oatmeal and hyperbole and a half, were the websites where the creators sort of talked about different stuff using like their own kind of crappy art style. Like hyperbole and a half was like these crappy MS Paint looking pictures that went along with these stories done in hyperbole and a half, and they're always very good, and yeah, they definitely still hold up. And the creator Ali Brosh, she wrote a book, and then many years later, after writing her first book, she came out with a second one. The first book, very good. I own it, and I have it with me right next to me. And the second one I don't own, but my friend let me borrow it, and I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. But considering that these books are, so much of them is pictures, they're quite easy to get through very quickly. And one thing that Ali Brosh has dealt a lot with is just life throwing shit at her over and over again, and just emotional state just sort of plummeting, and depression and all of that comes with all of that. And she's had a lot to deal with. And as time goes on, I'm finding myself more and more sympathizing with all of the stuff that she has written about. It's not all doom and gloom or anything. I'd say quite the opposite. But her stories, like, they go back and forth between like stories about like her dogs and like stories from her childhood, silly stories, and just her also then going back and forth with stories about trying to deal with depression and the frustrations of everyday life, and just the world and psychology. And it's really good. I can definitely recommend both her books so far. I haven't finished the second one, so I guess there's always the possibility that something will ruin it at the end, I guess. But uh, I've I've been thinking as I'm reading that second one about a lot of the stuff that I could talk about here, and then I was thinking about going back to some of the stuff that she's talked about in the first one, which the the one thing about Hyperbole and a Half that like I couldn't, and I still on some levels still fairly foreign to me, understand necessarily, was this sense of when she was talking earnestly about how she really is inside of her mind. And I want to just oh, I should really be setting waypoints. I'll just set some before I forget. Um, about how she doesn't really that she feels like if she wasn't actively trying to, she would be a horrible person. And on some level, like, I kind of feel that way a little bit. Like, that there are some things that if I wasn't actively trying, I would be a much worse person. But on another level, like the sort of things that that she talks about, like, I think she has it a bit more so than I do. Well, it's hard. I wanted to read like a passage out loud from like the final chapter of her first book, but it's kind of hard to do that. I never figured out like the auto walk button in this game. I probably should have. Maybe just double clicking did it. I just double click now, and now I'm not holding the button. Hopefully that works. And dang, it seems like there's no green mushrooms down here. And then there's, I guess we can farm a disappointment here. We might as well just do that. Do, do, do. But I just want to maybe just read out some of the stuff from this final chapter. I don't think this is the end of the world. I mean, that I'm doing this, but I don't know. Maybe she'll find me and beat me up for copyright. The chapter was entitled Identity, and let me turn off this so it's not in the background. Identity Part 2. On a fundamental level, I am someone who would throw sand at children. I know this because I have had to resist doing it, and that means that it's what I would naturally be doing if I wasn't resisting it. I would also shove everyone, never share anything, and shout at people who aren't letting me do exactly what I want. I don't do those things, though, because I don't want to have to know that I did them. It would hamper my ability to feel like a good person. I don't even want to know that I would do them. Thankfully, I have an entire system of lies and tricks in place to prevent me from realizing how shitty I actually am. And then there's like this giant chart that is a representation of her inner psychology of trying to like lie to oneself to create this illusion that you're a good person. If you actually are a genuinely good person, perhaps you don't need lies and tricks to feel good about yourself. I'm gonna stop it right there and just say like, then you gotta like define like what is a good person and such. Like on some like I read the stuff that she said, and when I first read this chapter, I didn't relate because I felt like I don't need those things to feel like a good person because I feel like a lot of that stuff I genuinely like naturally want to share and I genuinely naturally want to help others. Uh, but at the same time, there are things that I notice in myself that don't match up with the morality of and the identity of the person I want to be. So although not everything might perfectly match up with like I don't think I'm naturally maybe as shitty of a person. which feels bad to say because now I'm throwing Allie under the bus. But I still relate to this chapter just because there are some things that are similar to what she's saying. And I accidentally hit the space bar and it stopped me mining. And now I'm mining backwards. Perfect. Every day, against my will, I am bombarded by all these shitty, selfish thoughts, and I don't want to find out that the reason I have them is because that's what I'm really like. I feel that. That would be disappointing. This system protects me from that. But I'm a little greedy about the good qualities I want to believe that I have, and I'm not very sneaky, so at some point I accidentally started to figure out what was going on. And then she's got a picture of herself. I'm so humble. I'm not even telling anyone how great I am. I don't know how I do it. Should humble people feel this proud of how humble they are? So the realization. Stop thinking before you ruin this for yourself. You are the most humble person that ever lived. No one is more humble than you. Have I always been this full of shit? Yeah, and it's hard for me to say anything besides that's a lot of how I'm feeling recently is just like looking at myself and questioning my own, like, everything I've built an identity on, which in the past I've had people tell me, like, oh, you have a strong identity because it's not based on any one thing. You don't like heavily identifying with one thing is what creates a fragile identity, and so it's a good thing. But then in reality, is that even really true? Because I think it's possible I've built an identity around some sort of perception that I am a moral and good person, but then when you look at anything in that vein deeper, you realize, like, what is morality? All morals are based around trying to make yourself feel good. Like, it's like the cyclical thing of just you're a good person because you can't deal with the idea of not being one, not because you actually are. In the past, I've really valued this idea of a person who is naturally bad, but they try so hard to be a good person that they, like, it's in the end maybe more valuable that a person that it was difficult to be good than if someone was just naturally good. But as time goes on, I begin to question everything. I begin to question every moral I've held, and wonder, like, is it really so good that I am holding up this ideal of repression? Um, and and is that doing something poor to me? I don't know. Um, but then to continue with this chapter. When you start figuring out how full of shit you are, it's like opening a tunnel to all the lies you've ever told yourself. The tunnel is really deep and scary, but you're suspicious about it, and you want to see what's down there. And then, like, she's got pictures of herself entering this tunnel with all this graffiti all over the walls of things like, hey, asshole, you have fucked up priorities. You're only kind of smart. You'd be a huge dick if you didn't actively try not to be. I wanted to know if I'd been lying to myself about anything else, and with only a minimal level of investigation, I was able to determine that I'd been lying to myself quite a lot. You do nice things for selfish reasons. You're helpful because you want to admire yourself, not because you actually want to help. It felt horrible to find bad qualities that I didn't know about, and it felt even worse to know that some of the things I thought were my good qualities were actually just a disguise for more bad qualities. I was disgusted. I've been like this the whole time? How? And here's where most people would stop probing. Because most people are smart enough to realize that self-improvement is supposed to be a delicate, lifelong process of exploring until you find a teensy amount of truth, just enough to make yourself uncomfortable. Then getting the hell out so you can process what you learned in the comfort of your warm, familiar lie fortress. Shh, it's okay. We're sorry. We never meant to do it, never. We only wanted good things. We're very good. Very, very good. Shh. Yeah. I couldn't say it any better. Just that sense that I'm realizing in myself that there's all this bullshit about myself that my everything about my personality, about like what I see myself as, what the in and that is so small. Like I have such a small identity, and it's all just bullshit, and it's all just lie after lie, and just bullshit after bullshit, and you end up feeling like you just realize you're nothing. I am absolutely nothing besides these base instincts that I can't put any value in. And it's really sad. And yet I keep delving deeper. It feels like I can't I can't sit here and just go back to the lie fortress. Once you've once you've started uncovering any truths, you just keep pushing further. At least I am. It feels so wrong to just out of this fear to stop. And yet obviously that's what I should be doing if I want to maintain my sanity. But I keep pushing onwards anyway, and I don't know how to stop, and I don't know if I would want to. Um, but not me. I'm arrogant, and I thought I could handle it all at once. Yep. I thought the whole process was going to be sort of like getting rid of a wasp's nest. A few stings, but once you remove the source, your fundamental insufficiency. Oh, wait, I skipped a line. Once you remove the source of the problem, it's gone. Unlike wasp nests, however, you cannot beat your fundamental insufficiencies to death with a 14-foot long tree branch while hiding behind a ski mask and a cloud of mace. And unlike wasps, uncomfortable truths don't stop coming once you destroy their home. On some level, I think I truly believed that if I just kept going, maybe I could locate the source of my shittiness and actually get rid of it. That's scary because that's kind of the hope I have as well. And as I keep going, unfortunately, the source of my shittiness is the fact that I'm shitty. I just am. It is not possible for me to not be that way. I can prevent myself from being actively shitty. I can do things that a not shitty person would do. But the shittiness is always going to be there, just beneath the surface, straining to get out. I didn't know that yet, though. I had a wonderful lie-generating loophole machine protecting me from ever coming into contact with that information. And, somewhat ironically, that's what gave me the confidence to ignore the warnings and bumble onward. And then there's a picture of a sign. There's nothing past this sign. It looks like there is, but there isn't. I'd never lie to you. Stop going. What are you doing? Stop going, you idiot. Stop, you aren't ready. Stop, please. And I'm gonna pick up this mushroom and start moving forward. Harvest mushroom. And if I double click, yep, I get to just keep moving forward. I'm surprised I never tried to do that before, when that is just the only thing you need to do. The human brain knows when it isn't ready to discover everything about itself. And there are a few emergency security measures. No, it doesn't. It just clicks like in RuneScape. You just click one place and you don't get to stop. That's difficult then to be reading at the same time as doing this. I'll use one hand and pin the book on the desk to read at the same time. There are a few emergency security measures in place to keep you safe in the event that you decide to go traipsing around in your deep brain wilderness like a reckless idiot. Hey, what are you doing? Stop, said security man Eric. Playing a game. What game? What's wrong with me? It's like an Easter egg hunt for things that make me feel weird. Well, you aren't allowed to go over there. Huh? My attempts at self-preservation backfired and turned into clues I could use to guide myself further towards the truth. Hey, I specifically stated that you can't go over there. Why not? And let's see, where can we grow this mushroom as close as possible? There we go. Right here. Hopefully this works. The perfect soil for mushrooms of all kinds. And let's turn this, overwrite this one, and then maybe go back down to the face. Yes, I will pay this place a visit. Why can't I go over there? There's a thing. You aren't supposed to see it. You can't go in there. What are you doing? I was getting dangerously close to uncovering the inner workings of my self-worth generator, and that is not something I wanted myself to know about. Like most illusions, I accidentally clicked, and now I go back to the face. Like most illusions, if you figure out how it works, you won't be able to believe it anymore. But fucking Sherlock Holmes, psychology explorer, refused to give up. Where is it? I want to see it. I'm gonna find it. I was so upset when I figured it out. What is this? It tricked me. It's been tricking me this whole time. Nobody likes being tricked. Especially not for so long and about all the things that are important to them. I wanted it to be real. I didn't want the source of my problems to turn out to be you're just sort of naturally shittier than what you wanted, and you had to trick yourself so you wouldn't find out and be disappointed. And then the security guy, Eric, comes back. He walks over to her. She's huddled in fetal position, sad. I tried to stop you. You tried to trick me. So you'd rather know the truth and be mad? No. I want the truth to be different. It isn't. You tried, though. I did. I did try. And I really, really did. And I suppose that's something. I might not be able to be someone who never ever gets the urge to push people or throw sand at them, but I try to be that person. In the not throwing sand and not shoving people competition, I get the participation ribbon. And even though I know there aren't any special requirements for earning the participant ribbon aside from the participation itself, I still feel sort of proud of it because it's hard not pushing people and not throwing sand at them. As for me, like, I don't know how much, I certainly don't feel much sense of comfort from that little thing. Oh, I should definitely go up here and mine this other area out for its disappointment while I'm still up here. I still try to trick myself, though. I know I'm being tricked, but I let it happen because it feels nice. Good job. You found all the shitty parts. You don't have shitty parts anymore. I do, though. I just know about them now. Shh, no you don't. But I do know about them. And there are probably more that I don't. Shh.